সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আপনাদের সবাইকে আবারও স্বাগতম কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্সে। আজকে আমরা কথা বলছি ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স অ্যান্ড ইটস ইম্প্যাক্ট অন ফ্যামিলি লাইফ। আমার সাথে উপস্থিত আছেন আমার হাতের ডান পাশে ব্যারিস্টার আয়েশা মিয়া এবং আমার হাতের বাম পাশে উপস্থিত আছেন জনাব মাসুদ আহমেদ। Thank you both of you once again for joining us. Today we are talking on a very important topic. Particularly this is very related to our British Bangladeshi community. আমরা ফার্স্ট সেগমেন্টে কথা বলছিলাম বিভিন্ন ফ্যাক্টস অ্যান্ড ফিগার গুলো নিয়ে, এবং আমরা সেকেন্ড সেগমেন্টে কথা বলছিলাম যে ফ্যামিলি লাইফের উপর এটা কি ইম্প্যাক্ট পড়তে পারে বা চিলড্রেন্স গ্রোথে এটার ইম্প্যাক্টটা কি। এই সেগমেন্টে আমরা কথা বলার চেষ্টা করব যে অনেকে যে রিলিজিয়াস পয়েন্ট থেকে এটা ডিফেন্ড করার চেষ্টা করে সেটা যে ভুল, সেটা নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলবো, এবং প্রিভেনশন আমরা কি করতে পারি অ্যাজ এ কমিউনিটি, হোয়াট উই ক্যান ডু টু প্রিভেন্ট দিস সর্ট অফ বিহেভিয়ার্স, এইগুলো নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলবো। তা আমি যদি প্রথমে আপনাকে দিয়ে শুরু করি, মাসুদ ভাই, আপনি ইসলাম তো অ্যাকচুয়ালি এম্পাওয়ার্ড উমেন, ইট গেভ সেম রেসপন্সিবিলিটি অ্যান্ড পাওয়ার ফর বোথ হাজব্যান্ড অ্যান্ড ওয়াইফ উইদিন দ্য ফ্যামিলি। তো অনেকে যেটা আপনার ইসলাম দিয়ে এটাকে ডিফেন্ড করতে চায়, তাদের অ্যাক্টিভিটিসকে, তাদের এই যে এই ধরনের মিসবিহেভিয়ারগুলোকে, আপনি আপনার অভিজ্ঞতা থেকে কি মনে করেন বা আপনার মেসেজটা কি তাদের কাছে?
People will always misuse religion, and religion has been misused by people throughout centuries. আমাদের বর্তমান পরিস্থিতিতে ইসলাম ধর্ম থেকে আমরা যে মেসেজ পাই, আমি নিজে ইসলাম স্টাডি করার পরে যেটা শিখছি যে ইসলাম তো এটা পিসফুল রিলিজন। ইট নট অনলি ওয়ান্টস টু ক্রিয়েট পিস উইদিন ইয়োর সেলফ, but it also wants to create peace within your family, in your wider society, all the way to the state. So from that perspective, I can see that you can only be a Muslim, and certainly you can only be a good Muslim if you are at peace with yourself, if you are at peace with people around you in your family and people in your community and to the wider society. So if somebody takes that definition, domestic violence, domestic abuse, all of these things are outside Islam. Some imams and mullahs and people who claim to be religious, they abuse the religious literature.
For their own benefit.
For their own benefit, and sometimes due to lack of insight, lack of deep understanding of what Islam is all about.
Islamed true knowledge tader kache.
We say that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is our model. He is our example. Now, if he is our example, then we have to see how many times was he abusive to anybody around him.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not a single incident or a report. And this is one man in the whole of history who has said that, tell the world everything about me. So we have details about his private life, we have details about his personal habits, everything. And not once is there in thousands of reports of hadith literature do we find that he was abusive to anybody. One of his servants, when Zaid, his father was from another place, they discovered that when he was a little child, he was lost and stolen and sold as a slave to people. So they traced him back, and luckily, they found him. And they came to the Prophet, because at that time this young man was in the Prophet's house. So they said to him that we want to take you back. And this servant or slave, in the terminology used at that time, he was given the choice, and he said, no, I wouldn't want to go back to you guys, even though I love you, and so on, because he was so attached. And this is a servant.
So attached to our Prophet.
Yeah, because of the way he was treated, kindness, respect and generosity and everything else. And they eventually made a deal, and they left him behind with the Prophet. There are other people who actually were around him, and they said he never even said to us a word of discourtesy, like telling someone off or saying don't do this or don't do that. He didn't do that. So that's the example I follow. That's the example I'm trying to follow. So those people who come and tell you or tell me that Islam tells you that you can beat your wife or you can punish them and this and that. They're using flimsy example to justify their own ego. And a lot of the time, it is based on cultural practices rather than Islamic practices, because it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow the religion of peace, a religion that respects women and men doesn't preach that.
Thank you very much, Masood bhai. So Islam actually empowered women,
Yes.
but some people, they want to use Islam as a defense for their misbehavior, for their activities. So you as a woman, what's your view on this?
Okay, our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, many of his quotes are bandied around, but one of his seminal quotes are, "The best among you are those who are best to their wives." Islam doesn't disempower women, it's cultural practices. Men will often, especially in the South Asian community, and I wouldn't say South Asian, it's a very common practice that your wife's expected to cook for you, to clean for you, to wash your clothes. Our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, he is reported to wash his own clothes, mend his own clothes, cook for himself, and even help out in the chores. So that's just but one small example.
So it's rather the cultural aspect
Yes.
of someone's life
Yes.
instead of religion, isn't
That's
it?
right,
For
yeah.
example, in our community, let's talk about the Bangladeshi community. This is a Bangladeshi channel. A very lofty status is given to the in-laws, okay? You will be told that if you don't serve your in-laws, that you're a bad daughter-in-law, etc., etc. But under Islam, and Islam has a jurisdiction and it has a jurisprudence, the law. What you do for your in-laws, it's not fard, it's considered sadaqah, charity. Your in-laws are not your obligations. This is something you do to keep a good relationship with your husband. But what our culture does, and in many ways we've taken too much from the Hindus because we were intertwined, and many of us were Hindus generations ago. We treat women subservient to men, and we attribute to them very little rights. So it's got nothing to do with Islam. And because
So
men...
people are using Islam, to defend their activities.
Yes.
Is really so. Is rather cultural aspect of our life rather than the religion. That's
Yes.
what. Is that what you say?
Yes, of course. I mean, often you'll see in weddings that the women, and men equally, are expected to bow down and touch the elders' feet. This is not Islamic, it's just completely cultural. In fact, you won't see it in the rest of the Islamic world. Domestic abuse, because men often justify their actions by using Islam, saying, I need to chastise you because you've been bad or your behavior is out of control. Domestic abuse is defined as power and control. So standard domestic abuse comes under the Duluth power and control wheel. A Muslim professor in America has developed a Muslim power and control wheel. So what the man will often say in terms of controlling the woman. So one example is, conventionally men are the leaders of the household. So they will tell their women, because I'm the leader and I'm responsible for the household, I will control all the money. And if you need anything, you have to ask me. So that is one example. So a lot of this abusive behavior, and it's news to women. I often have clients, when I explain to them what their rights are Islamically, they're absolutely shocked. Like, Islam gives me this right.
So it's the cultural element, really.
Of course, and most people haven't read the Quran. Like, I can point to verses in the Quran.
Thank you.
So, for instance, a man has a duty to accommodate his wife. This is Islamic duty. I'll tell you why. The Quran says you must accommodate even a divorced wife. So the importance of a married wife is even more. So you'll often find men who just, invite their wives after marriage into their home with the rest of their family, with their brother, their sister. This is not acceptable. He has a responsibility and an obligation
To look after her.
to accommodate her separately and meet her needs. And I'm sure Brother Masood will
Thank you
agree
very
with
much.
that.
Thank you. We have we talked a lot about the impact of domestic violence on family and children's growth. মাসুদ ভাই, আপনি আমাদের একটু prevention measure-গুলো বলেন. We as a community, what we can do to stop this sort of behavior within our family, within our society, even our bigger society, in British Bangladeshi community, in South Asian community, what we can do, if you can tell us very quickly.
I will just refer everyone to, especially the men, who go to mosque every Friday, but they take very little away from it. They learn very little, and the imams who, with all due respect, who give the khutbah, they don't explain anything, and they certainly don't give the khutbah in a language people can understand. Most people are busy. Most people go to the Jummah at the very last minute during working days. In this country, Friday is not a holiday. I can understand it if in some Muslim countries.
So you are emphasizing the religious institutions.
So what I'm saying is that the religious institutions, they need to take responsibility, and they need to take this issue head on, and realize that it is against the law to be abusive to your wife or to your husband, whoever. But Islam teaches us one thing, and this is mentioned every time in khutbah, that is very briefly, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqati.
Thank you, Mr. Bhai.
Fear Allah, be God conscious, and then if you are God conscious, you'll be able to hopefully change some of these habits.
Thank you very much. In 5 seconds, if you can tell us how we can prevent.
Women need to support each other.
Okay, women need to support each other. Thank you both of you. Thank you very much. সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, আজকে আমরা কথা বলছিলাম ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স এন্ড ইটস ইমপ্যাক্ট অন ফ্যামিলি লাইফ. আপনাদের সাথে আবারও দেখা হবে নেক্সট সপ্তাহে. সেই পর্যন্ত আপনারা ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন. থ্যাংক ইউ এন্ড টেক কেয়ার.